Welcome back to Mohawk TV's 2012 Mohawk Council of Kahnawake elections coverage. Right now I'm sitting in studio with Gina Deere. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Gina Deere. I'm married to Ronald Guimont. I am the daughter of Elizabeth Deere, and my father is Peter Rice. I'm currently a Kahnawake peacekeeper. I started in 1999 as an auxiliary peacekeeper, went off to training in 2000. I was hired full-time. And I'm the mother of 6 children, and I'm also a grandmother now. I've been currently a business owner in the last year. We're just going to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. We opened up a gas station and store near Jawarodo. Most people are familiar with it. It was in operation for many years, and the last 2 years it had closed. I decided to reopen it, and that's my current status.
So why have you decided to run for council?
Well, I like working in the community. I definitely have a love for Kahnawake. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of where I come from, and I'd like to make it a better place if I can. We have issues that are plaguing us right now, such as job creation, our rights as Native people. And I'd like to be part of that. I feel like I'm a frontline worker in the community currently, but I'd like to work, in the long-term process, because I know it's not a fast process trying to get into council and make some changes, but I believe that it is possible.
So you mentioned 2 things already, but what are some of the big issues that you see what are some of the big issues that are we're currently faced with in Kahnawake?
Well, asserting our jurisdiction. We have outside governments that are always trying to erode our rights as Native people, always trying to govern us. And, we have the justice system that we're trying to put into place to prevent the government from coming in here and making decisions on behalf of the MRI project.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a concern. I think that we are a unique people. I don't feel that the outside governments understand Native people, and that's where the problem lies, such as the residential schooling, pulling children out of their home life and putting them into schools. And, they had no idea what it was to be Native and how we were raised and what our traditional values were, and all that was taken away from us. And a lot of people lost language, culture due to that, because the government didn't understand Native people and they didn't want to. They just wanted assimilation. So we have to govern ourselves. We have to care for ourselves, I think, and that's important. Right from the social service system, which I had mentioned in a radio interview. You have non-Native social workers that come to Kahnawake and don't understand our way of life here. And it takes them many years of operating and working in the system that they learn how Kahnawake is, because we are a very unique people.
What would be some of the areas that you're interested in?
Well, growth and development. I think it's very important that we start looking at ways to provide for our community so people can work here. A lot of people talk about leaving the community and going work outside the community, but then you're taxed by the government. And when you go out there and half your paycheck is gone, a lot of people are discouraged. You have travel fees, you have the taxes, and they decide, not to go. And they look for jobs within the community. For myself, I started off working in a cigarette store. That was my employment. And then I graduated on to going to Cattery Hospital, and I was part of the housekeeping. And I decided that I needed a better job, and I needed to provide for my family. I needed a better salary, so I educated myself. I think we need to put more emphasis on education, more emphasis on job training. Mm-hmm. It's all part of the growth and development, because the more skilled people you have, the more possibilities for businesses. it kind of leads me to, like the business aspect, the small business. A lot of people are afraid to take a chance and open up a business because they don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
And through my schooling, it just empowered me, to learn more and seek more answers. And the more I learned about things, the more I felt confident in my abilities. And that's why when I decided to open up this gas station next to Jorodo, people said, well, aren't you afraid? Like, you're going to have to deal with the government and you're going to have to deal with taxes. And, what do you know about business? So I put myself out there. I went out there and I learned, okay, what's necessary, what needs to be done. And I took each task on one at a time. And I accomplished what I set out to do. And I handled each task, and then not all of them were easy. Some of them were long and lengthy, caused numerous phone calls and many meetings, but I was persistent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of why I'm running, because I'm also persistent. It's not the first time I've run. But when I believe in something, I don't give up. And that's what this community needs, somebody who's going to represent them, who believes in what they're doing and doesn't give up. So,
I guess what else? What type of past experiences do you have that would make you a good leader, role model, that comes with the position?
Well, currently, I work as a Ganawagi peacekeeper. I'm on a team at the station, and I have the ability to work well with other people. In my daily job, I'm negotiating with people on a regular basis. That's all part of what we do every day. And we're always looking for solutions. We're looking for immediate solutions to a problem. But I believe that these abilities will work well in council as a council chief, because I am going to be at a level where I have to negotiate, but I'm not going to be under the pressure I am as I am in my current job, because, like I said, it's a frontline position. But I believe that I can work well with others. I have the community's best interest at heart, and I am a strong, assertive person when I need to be, but I'm also very respectful. Anytime I've dealt with anybody, they will tell you that I respect everybody, no matter who you are, where you come from, and I think that's also important. Mm-hmm. And I demand the respect back also. I think that is part of who we are as Ungwehongwe.
If you were elected, what other areas would you be interested in?
Well, I've always been interested in the education system. I believe that we need to invest more in our children. I never took part in any sort of protest, but I did last year. I took my 2 daughters and we boarded the buses that left Ganawagi and we headed out for Ottawa, and we protested against the budgetary cuts to post-secondary education, because I believe we need to invest in our children. Knowledge is power, and we have to give them that knowledge so they can have that power, because let's face it, as Ungwehongwe, we're going to have a fight with the government forever. It's never going to end. Mm-hmm. We have to educate and empower our children to carry that fight on, to continue to assert our rights, because it's going to be a never-ending struggle as long as we're here.
If you were elected, how would you be accountable to the people of Ganawagi?
That's very important. I believe we need more accountability. For example, I'll go back to my job again. I could sit back and I could wait for phone calls to come in and I can respond, but I don't. If nothing is happening in a day, I talk with my team, we get together. I have a productive team that I work with and say, okay, what needs to be done? There's issues at hand. We'll do spot check operations day and night, because we're proactive. And I like to be proactive. And I like to earn my paycheck. I believe that we should have more accountability to the people. They should know if, for example, if somebody's going to take a leave of absence for whatever reason it may be. If we've elected you and you're a public official, we should be aware of the fact that you're not actually at work. I think that's also important. What have you produced? I believe people should know what kind of work you're producing, what kind of projects you worked on, not just at election time, not once a year. But we should have more reports of what's happening. I know we have the chiefs that come on in session and talk a bit, but I think that we need more accountability of where our councillors are, what they're doing, and what they've done, even as far as what they vote.
So how would you do or be better at that? Like,
well, when I'm, or if I am in, I'd like to see something put in place that makes us all accountable, so that people are aware of what we're doing. There should be reports out there. We should know what's going on at the council table. We should know who's there and who's not. We should know what people are voting, because if you're representing this community, you shouldn't have a vote that's undisclosed. We should know where you stand, because are you really representing me? Are you really representing my interests and what I want? Because it's easy to come out here and say, okay, you know, I'm going to listen to the people. But when it comes to voting time at the table, do we really know what you voted? It's anonymous. It shouldn't be. I want to know, are you genuinely representing me and my interests?
what do you think about the confidentiality agreement?
Well, I believe you have to have some confidentiality when it comes on a personal level. It's something that I deal with my
I was just going to say,
current
you
job.
probably...
It's very important, because people want to feel that they can approach council on a personal issue, whether it be, you know, housing or whatever it may be they're having a crisis with, but they don't want it to be public knowledge. That's important. You have to be comfortable. But there are things and issues that go on that I think the community should be aware of. For example, the monies that were spent on the casino project. I think before we even invested that money, we should have went to the community right away and said, listen, this is where we're going. This is what it could cost to research it. Is the community ready? Is the community interested? But instead, it kind of was in reverse.
Speaking of the casino, what would your ideas be for to address economic development or funding shortfalls?
Funding shortfalls? Wow, that's a handful. And I'd like to know, do we have funding shortfalls? Because at the candidates' night last night, I heard there was $10 million. So I'm very interested to know where the shortfalls come. How do we have $10 million, as Martin LeBorn put it? And what's really going on with our budget? It's very questionable at this point.
So I guess it goes back to the whole accountability
Exactly.
issue.
Yeah, because we were all very surprised when we sat in that meeting last night.
So finally, I guess, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I will say it again. I have said it already in the past, that I'd like people to vote for me based on my abilities. I don't want people to vote for me because I'm their cousin or I'm their friend. I want people to vote because they genuinely believe that I can help this community. I can make a difference at the council table, and people want to see change. I'm promoting change, but you're going to have to also change who you vote for, because I'm not one person who can make a change alone. You're going to need to mix the table, and you're going to have to bring in new people with new ideas, and that's the way you're going to get change. Because I've been talking with several others, and that's the key word I've been hearing, change. And I've had the time to speak with other candidates that are running that are not from council, and some that have been in council, and they all have great ideas, and they're all promoting change.
Alrighty, so thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
With that, we have to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with more of Mohawk TV's 2012 Mohawk Council of Kahnawake elections coverage.